The Reds are 3 games below 500. We are nowhere near the trade deadline, so can't assume help is coming too soon, Kyler. No script today. We are digging in as we have to talk about your 2025 Cincinnati Reds and just what's going wrong so far this year. So tune in, grab a seat, little town hall, no script. Let's talk about your 2025 Cincinnati Reds next on Reds Access. Welcome to Reds Access, your weekly Cincinnati Reds talk show, going to Reds games, news, and more. Your hosts, Colin Arter and Kyler Osterberger, as always. Kyler, this is a video I didn't want to make. We are 3 games under 500, Kyler, and yet we are 0-20-something when trailing after the 6th inning. We have not had a comeback win. We've not had an extra innings win. This team, Kyler, has no fight in it whatsoever. Has serious lineup issues, and if I can say it, I'm not so sure we got a return of Buck Showalter as so much. I'm pretty sure we got a return of Tony La Russa to the White Sox and Tito Francona. We have some serious issues, man, and we're gonna air them out today and just do a little town hall here, have a little conversation, Kyler. So I'll let you kind of kick it off here on your thoughts so far of what's really gone wrong this year. We are only 3 games under 500, but it feels a little worse than that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't want to beat a dead horse when we talk about the inconsistencies of the offense, bullpen struggling late in games. I feel pretty good about our starting rotation. I mean, obviously there's little things like we've kind of talked about Martinez, maybe switching to the bullpen, just he can't really get past that 4 or 5 innings without getting rocked. But for the most part, starting rotation, I'd probably give like a B, I would say a grade, maybe B- for the starting rotation. Bullpen and offense is really where, and it's mainly offense that has struggled. I think I saw something the other day, and you may have seen this too. Like we lead the MLB in most runs in the first inning with like 50 as of the I think the game yesterday or 2 days ago maybe. And we are below 500 and we blow games in the last couple innings. So I don't know, it's a struggle. You have a team that leads the league in first inning runs, and we've seen this season multiple times where the Reds will blast off like 8 runs in the first couple innings and then can't score the rest of the game, and we end up blowing it at the end. So it's just a lot of things adding up to a struggling offense. De La Cruz not playing like he should. Steer not playing. McLean really struggling. I mean, the list goes on. Our people we're relying on are like Espinal and Lux and Trevino, people that we added that we thought were more of positional players, kind of fit them in where they fit, but now they're almost leading the team, and they're the people we're relying on. And I don't think McLean should be hitting as high as he is in the rotation. I think he might need to go to AAA. So there's a lot of things that need unpacked with my thoughts on all that.
Yeah, I think that's what I was about to say. I don't think Matt McLean needs to be hitting anywhere near a major league lineup right now.
Yeah.
What really doesn't do him well, Kyler, is when you send up Garrett Hampson in the bottom of the 9th instead of Matt McLean. That tells you what Tito Francona thinks of Matt McLean. You're right. The pitching's good. 12th best ERA in the MLB. In the National League, we have the 5th best ERA. We have 24 save opportunities. Unfortunately, situationally, we're not a good team. In 24 save opportunities, Kyler only saved 16 of those games. Also, our team has the 4th best whip in Major League Baseball. 8th best, 9th best whip in Major League Baseball. There are only a couple teams in National League better, Kyler. I believe it is one team. Yep, just one, just the Giants. So our pitching is one of the best pitching staffs in the league when it comes to, especially in the National League in general, but in the league in general when it comes to not allowing base runners. They're going to pull out of home runs, but not allowing base runners. Our pitching's not the issue. Despite, blowing saves, blah, blah, blah. It's not the issue. The issue is hitting. The issue is situational hitting. I talked about it a second ago. Guys that we're expecting, Kyler, you're right, to come up big in games are not coming up big. But a lot of it, Kyler, has to do, in my opinion, with the lineup construction, which falls on the manager. It is absolutely asinine, Kyler, that we have Santiago Espinal hitting second in a major league lineup that's trying to make a play for the playoffs. And it's not to say he's not a good ball player. He's a fine ball player.
Yeah, he shouldn't be the second hole, though.
Today I saw Francona put Lux in the 2-hole, and that's going to be his next experiment in the 2-hole. And I like Lux in the 2-hole a lot, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he plays situational baseball, gets the ball in play, and I think he's been hitting pretty well with us compared to historically his numbers over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it seems like it. And I know, like, looking at Lux, he definitely is hitting better than the last couple of years. He's had a really good year, which everybody, I think, expected. He's hitting 292. That'd be his best average ever.
I think his average we talked about a couple of weeks ago was like 220, maybe 230 over his career.
Yeah, it's up to 257 now because he's had some plate appearances with us here now. But we also miss some big players, Kyler. I mean, we're missing guys like Hayes that is out again with an injury.
Yeah.
But, guys do get hurt, right? They get hurt. When you don't have a lineup or a organizational depth to replace those guys that gets hurt, and this is being a dead horse. We've talked about this, I know. This is what happens. Yeah. You don't have guys to replace them. Then you end up in June for a competing ball club that says they're competing and worry about winning this year. You end up in June starting Garrett Hampson in the outfield. You give meaningful at-bats to Blake Dunn, who's, by the way, hitting like 143 in AAA. You give meaningful at-bats to guys like Jacob Hurtubise, and, respect our soldiers and our nation's fighting men, but yeah. What are we doing, man? You've got Connor Joe and Garrett Hampson starting corner outfield for a team that's trying to make a playoff push. And by the way, I shouldn't have to tell you, Santiago Espinal has an isolated average of .005, which is worse than Major League Baseball, hitting from the 2-hole. He is isolated power. He is basically just an automatic out in the 2-hole.
Yeah.
How many games, Kyler, have we seen Espinal come up with bases loaded, second and third, less than 2 outs, and De La Cruz stand on the on-deck circle?
Yep.
I honestly, Kyler, I'm really starting to think this is a managerial issue. I know you might not be there yet, but maybe we shouldn't have given David Bell so much crap.
No, and I agree to an extent, and we've kind of talked about this as well. It starts from the top down, and you can put blame on Tito. I'm not saying Tito's perfect. I'm not going to ride him on this podcast. I think he's a great manager leading up to this year. I think he's made some mistakes. But when you look at the big picture of everything, he has to work with the tools that the ownership gave him. I mean, we know we talk about lineups that's on the manager, but there's a lot more cracks in the foundation with ownership that might be causing the leaking to happen, and that leaking's going on Tito, and there's some things he's doing that's causing more leaking. So it feels almost as if we're watching a sinking ship, and it's been sinking for a couple years now, and no one can figure out how to patch it.
Did you see the post about how this felt like the last year of Marvin Lewis?
Yeah.
On Twitter. It said this is very similar to the last years of Marvin Lewis. Kyler, as an offense team, we're actually not that bad, just to point out. I mean, our team OPS plus is 92, so it's below average, but it's not terrible. In our starting lineup, we have guys. Trevino, of course, if Stevenson with DH would be our starting catcher. He's still got a 107 OPS plus, though he's been really cold of late. De La Cruz, OPS plus 110. Lux, 113. Friedel, 122. Hayes, 140. He's hurt. Stevenson, 102. He's playing every day now. Benson, 122. He's playing every day now. The highest OPS. So those are guys kind of that contribute. That's guys that really what we're looking at is issues in certain positions that have put way too high of in the lineup, or just are a total non sequitur in the lineup. Guys like McLean, Espinal. Really, that's it. McLean, Espinal right now. But the highest OPS on this team, Kyler, is Austin Wynn, who I know he's 34. He's never hit in his career, but by God, he was hitting this year. Hitting 400 still, by the way. Kyler, let me ask you a question. He's been on the roster since opening day. How many at-bats did he get in the month of May?
Guess. Not many. Is it like 10 maybe?
7.
I was close.
7 at-bats.
Yeah.
Guy hitting 400, slugging 700, 4 at-bats. And you could say,
and I think he was playing pretty decent behind the plate too. Obviously, I prefer Trevino, but I don't think wins did anything to garner him to what happened in the past month of not getting time.
Wins our 4th highest WAR player on offense. And he's not playing. He got 7 at-bats last month. I agree, though. Not anything bad on defense to warrant getting shut down.
Yeah.
And, you could say, well, we have 3 catchers. Yeah, I mean, that's not sustained success. And that's probably all true. So we throw out Garrett Hampson, a 30-year-old utility player who's hitting career like 200. We send down Reese Hines, who, he's hitting 158, but he can hit a home run.
It's true.
We have guys like Strand, who I just saw today, they're keeping in AAA. He needs more time, they said. He needs more time.
Yeah, but how much time are you going to give him, especially with how
what are you waiting for? Exactly. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, we're already struggling. I mean, what's it going to hurt to put someone that's actually got time in the MLB and can and has seen pitching compared to other guys that we just pull up and fill a spot? But it goes right back to we're just patching holes, it feels like, and it's not working.
We're wasting career seasons from guys like Abbott, who has a 1.51 ERA this year. Guys like Hunter Green, that's having another great year. Guys like Nick Lodolo, that's having a very good year. Then we have hitters having career years. Guys like TJ Friedel having a career resurgent year with an 815 OPS. Guys like Hayes, when he's healthy, with a 901 OPS, that is having a career year in a contract year. Benson having a resurgent year at 837 OPS. We're wasting good years from these players because we have such large holes, Kyler, that we can't fill them. When you have guys getting meaningful at-bats like Matt McClain, who, I'm sorry, I love Matt McClain. I thought he was going to hit 30 home runs this year. Matt McClain, I'm just going to say, sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks. There's no other way. He sucks.
I definitely think he's regretting turning down that contract offer earlier this season. But it got, like I said, some blame goes on Tito. I'm not going to let him kind of just squeeze on out of here, but I really do think it just goes back to ownership. It goes from the top, trickles down. I feel like this year is more frustrating for us as fans due to the fact that bringing Tito on was a really big thing. And we thought it was a big thing at the beginning of the season. Some of these trades and signings they made, I truly thought that we were going to be contending for the playoffs. And it feels just like, and any Cincinnati fan knows this feeling with the Bengals growing in the early 2000s and stuff like that. Like, it feels like it's profit over fans. It feels like ownership just wants to maximize profit. They don't care who is playing out there as long as people are paying for tickets and concessions, whatever. Like, as long as they're making money, I don't think they ever want to strive to be better. And I just don't see how this is going to change. I mean, I feel like the Reds have been this way besides the 2013 season and the 21. That was the COVID short year that we made the playoffs. We haven't won a playoff series since 1990s. I mean, it's been 30 years of average and below average for the Reds. Like, where do you draw the line? Like, where do we just stop supporting ownership that just does not care about baseball and about the Reds in Cincinnati?
Soon, you hope you stop supporting that ownership, because I'm just like looking and you have guys, I totally forgot that Chase Petty made 2 starts. He had 13 runs in 5 innings. That's ownership. You know why that's ownership? And it's not Tito, you're right. It's because Chase Burns is sitting down there in Double-A with a 1.9 ERA, striking out 2 hitters every inning.
Yeah.
And did you see the comments by Nick Kroll last week?
No, I didn't.
Chase Burns isn't ready. There's things you don't see.
Yeah. I did see that. There's things that he's still working on that I saw that. I thought it was complete, just utter crap.
Bullshit.
But
Yeah,
it's just crap.
because you're telling me Chase Petty didn't have stuff to work on. Apparently, Chase Petty had a lot to work on.
Right, but you brought him up.
But you know what the real issue is. Is that you don't get the draft pick when Chase Burns wins Rookie of the Year. Same thing with Sal Stewart. We don't have hitters come off the bench. We need Garrett Hampson. No, you don't need Garrett Hampson because you have a guy like Sal Stewart. That's Sal Stewart right now in 2025 in Double-A, which, by the way, is better pitching than Triple-A a lot of the time. 328 batting average, 852 OPS. He's had 197 plate appearances, only struck out 29 times. I don't care. Take away 100 points from his batting average from the Double-A Major League jump cut. Take away 100 points. So he hits 228. That's 80 points higher than Garrett Hampson's hitting right now.
Right.
Get him up here. If you cared about winning, he'd be on the team. If you cared about winning, Santiago Espinal would be the first guy off the bench, and you would have Sal Stewart in the starting lineup. If you cared about winning, Cam Collier hitting 390 in rookie ball at 22 now would probably have you thinking, maybe Cam Collier's on the Major League roster. Yeah, it's a huge jump. But what do we have to lose at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, and he just obviously he came off the IL with the Dragons. What was that, like a week or two ago? And he's been crushing the ball too. So I like I said, it goes to ownership. I mean, Tito is dealt a certain hand to play, and there's certain things, like I said, he's done. But what do you do when that's all the tools are being provided by the ownership?
I'm not sure, I necessarily know the answer to that question because I know it's difficult.
I mean, if I was Tito, I'm almost thinking, and I feel like I've seen a lot of people talking about it today, like, why did I come out of retirement? Like, this is a crapshoot. This team's a crapshoot. Why? This legacy he built, a Hall of Fame manager, could have just rode off in the sunset and came back to the Reds, and this is what we're looking at beginning of June.
I completely agree with you, and I think he is getting stomped by ownership, Kyler, the same way that Bell did, the same way that Price. Everybody since Dusty Baker. I don't have it pulled up, but let me see. Pull this up really quick.
I actually, while you're doing that, I put up some stats about the Brewers with that series. So this was as of last night. The Reds are, let me see, hold on. So we had 8 strikeouts last night. We'd already talked about how we lead the MLB in first inning runs. Obviously blow that lead a lot. So Brady Singer had 5 innings last night, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks through 96 pitches. Pretty high for 5 innings. But I saw somewhere there was a stat. The Brewers, they've won 41 out of the last 56 games versus the Reds.
Yeah.
They've won the last 30 out of 40 games at Great American Ballpark. And if they win today, it would be their 12th straight series they've won against us. That's some insane stats.
Yeah, it's some. We do that. I saw that same stat line, Kyler. I didn't see it was for other teams. We are like a 460 winning percentage against the entirety of the Central.
Yeah.
We can't win in our division. At some point, you need to win your division. The Brewers are the Brewers and the Cubs are the 2 worst. The Pirates, we've lost a lot to lately, but there was a time we dominated the Pirates, and you could say, oh, that's sweet for sure. Why can't we win in the division? That's another question that you're asking right now, and I don't know the answer to it. Why can't we beat the Brewers? Why can't we score right after the 6th inning? Is it a leadership issue? Is it a coaching issue? Because it's not like the guys they check out after the 6th inning.
And there's not really, and we've discussed, there's not really leadership on this team as of.
There's zero leadership. There is zero leadership on this team.
So, and that, I think, I mean, I'm obviously not upset with the India trade. But India was, and I know he had some issues last year, but was the leader, and Votto, and you haven't seen that guy step up. And this is when you need it the most, is someone to provide that leadership. It's just not there, and that's something we're not used to because we've had Votto for so long. And then it felt like the torch was being kind of passed from Votto to India, and then India got traded, and now it's just like a group of dudes that some came back from last year and some were acquired over the offseason, and it just doesn't feel like there's chemistry. It doesn't feel like we're meshing. There's no leadership. It feels like we're just a dog just getting kicked on our side over and over again.
Yeah. There is no leadership. There is no mesh. There is no clubhouse here, I don't think. Honestly, I don't think Terry Francona's helping. Have you seen some of the interviews lately where the people have asked him about a few weeks ago we talked. I said, I don't know if people are asking about his decisions.
Yeah.
And they are now. And he is just scoffing at him, saying game 6 days ago means nothing. No, it meant something 6 days ago, though.
Right.
You can't just
you can't keep brushing it under the rug and not answer or take accountability or explain why you did that, because even though you're saying it doesn't matter today, like you said, it does matter 6 days ago.
I found the quote. January 06, MLB approves the sale for the Castellinis. He says, we're buying the Reds to win. Anything else is unacceptable. Our goal is to put a contender on the field this year. He says he was going to bring back championship baseball in Cincinnati, build one of the most respected organizations in baseball. Both those are not true. There was a time in like 2019, 2020, the Reds, people, Cincinnati, it was everybody wanted to come. People wanted to come play for the Reds.
Yeah, Bauer won the only Cy Young that Cincinnati's ever had.
People wanted to come play for the Reds. They saw the Derek. I'll tell you why they want to play for the Reds. They watched Michael Lorenzen and Derek Dietrich and Joey Votto with cuffless shirts on, hitting home runs into the river at PNC Park, and the team was having fun.
Yeah.
They won 676 games, but I promise you, nobody wanted to play that team.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of heart, and it goes back to Votto. I think a big piece of that was Votto. Dude, Votto brought that fire under him and under that team. And I don't want to say winning culture, because we had a lot of ups and downs throughout the 2010s. And but you need a guy that has that experience and that leadership that is willing to pull this team in. And we're nowhere near that. De La Cruz is I feel like too young and too immature and too inconsistent this year as of late. So
he also said, Kyler, in that note, that he was going to rekindle the Reds Nation spirit and asking fans for feedback. Hope make us feel like we're always at the game and really driving community and driving a fan base. But I got to tell you, there are some huge Reds fans, Kyler, I've seen on Twitter that are just giving up on the Reds. This year's been so much worse than the others, because you're right. There is no leader. The guys you look to are too mature, too young, too inconsistent. But most importantly, worst of all, Kyler, is he says that he's not going to rest until we're happy.
I haven't seen a single happy Reds fan this season besides the beginning of the season, but it's been pretty much downhill ever since.
Well, remember, bringing championship baseball to Cincinnati is the ultimate goal. Like you, we believe in the power, potential, and magic of the Cincinnati Reds, and we will work tirelessly to bring a winner home to you. The Reds officially had the lowest payroll. Have a lower payroll this year than they did when they won 100 or they lost 100 games last. As of getting rid of Alexis Diaz. The Reds have a lower payroll this year than they did last year, the year before. They continually just cutting off payroll. The Reds are valued over $1 billion, by the way, and our payroll is like 60-something million.
Yeah. I think we're 29th out of 32 teams or something like that in payroll.
And by the way, if the Reds say they don't spend money and they say we don't have the money, and they don't go spend $5 million on a good player, $10 million on $5 on an okay player, $10, $15 on a good player, they don't spend that. But what they will do, Kyler, do you know that they paid almost $1 million to take care of Hampson's contract over? $1 million for guys. What is the point? Why spend money like that?
Right.
It really is terrible, man.
Well, going back to I just kind of thought about this and seeing some stuff with like CES and AAA on like that rehab stint. 20 at bats, batting 400, but we won't pull him back up. He needs some more time, like we said. Like it's just like more and more comes to the top of my brain, and I'm just like frustrated. Like, I feel like it's a daily thing. I'm walking around, I'm working, or whatever it might be, and then I just think about like, why would the Reds do that, or why wouldn't the Reds send this guy up or this guy down? Like, why do they do that? And I'm truly starting to think the ownership has no idea what's going on.
Nah, yeah. I think that it's
We
just
suck
like
so bad. We get great draft
reaction.
picks every year, and
Well,
we.
by the way, we didn't start bad this year. This is the first year in a while we've had an actual opportunity to we're 500, like 5-5, like 10.
Yeah.
We were 500 3 games ago, 29 and 29. That's not a bad start. It's not a good start. It's not a bad start.
No, but you know where it's trending.
Yeah. The season's
That's
over.
the problem.
I got the feeling the season's over right now. I really do.
Yeah.
I know it's doomer and everything. I feel like at 3 games under, this is about to spiral out of control.
I think why we are so worried and so frustrated today is because us and a lot of Reds fans online, it seems that we've all kind of come to the same conclusion that this season's a bust and it's going to trend downward and it's just not going to be a good season. And it seems like that's pretty much the whole Cincinnati population as of right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I hate to just like beat up on the Reds, but I like just don't know how we bounce back. Like, how do we turn it around when it feels like no one cares? And the shutouts, we've been shut out. Like how many games this season? And we're, I think, 5-10 in 1-run games. Like a lot of these stats that we talked about at the beginning of the season that you like can't repeat, and we struggled with the past season. I don't even know how many shutout games, like 15.
It's more than that, I think, actually. Let me
might be 21 or something.
I think it's 21.
But like that's an insane stat line to be shut out 30, almost like 33%.
It's 9 times. I'm sorry, it's 9 times.
Okay. Still though, like almost 20% of it being a shutout and our offense can't score a run. That's insane. So I don't know, dude. It's just frustration. It just keeps trickling into my mind, and I think about something new almost every day, and it just makes me upset again.
Yeah, according to this, the Inquirer and the New York Times are already talking about the Reds are going to sell at the deadline. The Reds are also on pace.
Called last week.
What do you say?
We called last week that we had to be sellers at the deadline.
Yeah. The Reds are tied with the Pirates for most shutout losses. No team in Major League Baseball has been shut out more times over the past 2 years than the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, it's not shocking.
The Reds are on pace to break their franchise record of 24 shutout losses, which happened during the dead ball era. Dude, very, 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 very bad. Very bad. And so I wanted to kind of talk about this today, Kyle, just kind of have an open conversation with like the Reds fans too in the comments. Like, where do we go from here? We could sit here and complain all day, and I don't think it's complaining, because I think it's very valid criticism of a team that we love more than anything. And I feel like the season's over already. It's tough to talk about a team, Kyler, that season's over. Like,
yeah.
And so we sell again at the deadline. Who's protected? I got to be honest with you. If I'm the Reds at the deadline at anywhere near 500, I'm probably selling the farm to get major league players to make a run. Because obviously buying a bunch of prospects doesn't work. But of course they won't do that because they have to spend money. But
I think the only safe bet right now would be De La Cruz. And honestly, I'm getting to the point where I'd rather get something now and do something. Maybe even like, you could tell me if the Reds can win a World Series next year and not win another for another 50 years, I'd probably take it, to be honest with you. But if it was me, everyone's up for sale. That's my motto. This is just not working. It hasn't been working for the past couple of years, so things need to shake up.
Something's got to change. It's like I said, asking just our fans in the comments and everything, people that are watching, if you're also like us wanting to talk about the 2025 Cincinnati Reds, What needs to change? How's it going to change? Is there a path forward? And who's safe at the trade deadline? Because I don't think guys like, Nick Lodolo shouldn't be safe. Steer, McLean, I wouldn't.
Green obviously would not be going anywhere. I feel like that's a no-brainer. Green, there's no way. Like he's the face.
Pitching is not the issue, though, man.
I know. I'm saying
so
as
I disagree.
Really?
I think that you could get a lot of very, very good baseball players for Hunter Green.
I agree 100%, but I just Green to me is the face of the Reds.
Okay.
Unless you want to argue De La Cruz, but I just don't see the Reds ever moving Green. I think that's going to be a lockdown if they can.
Yeah, I hear you, but the face of the Reds team right now doesn't mean anything to me. I think.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. But
or do you keep Green and look at De La Cruz and say I've got 3 years before I lose De La Cruz?
Yeah.
What can I get for De La Cruz right now? Of course, the Reds state that they wouldn't do that because the Reds fans would erupt.
Right.
But are you really going to put a team on the field in the next 3 years that's going to win it all, Bob?
Probably not. I think we're going to be a mediocre 76 or.
No, this is
now. It's like a 60.
This is a 70 game.
It's a 66 or a 76 win team every year is what it seems like it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So let us know your guys' comments, your impact on what you guys are thinking. Kylie, did you have any positive lights here of the status of the Cincinnati Reds to kind of go over here? I know we've been pretty negative. I really don't. I had a negative conversation in mind today. There's a lot of negatives I have on my mind with the Reds right now.
I mean, the pitching. Pitching's been great. Not perfect, but great. That's my one positive, I guess. We kind of talked about it, but certain guys kind of showing up that we didn't really think much of, like Lux, and you can kind of crap on Espinal in the 2-hole, but he's played, I think, above average of what we thought of him. Hayes, Trevino. I know Trevino's struggling a little bit right now, but that's my positives, I guess. It's not much. I don't know. It's a lackluster this season.
Your Reds play the Brewers at 7-10 tonight and look to turn the lackluster around, get back to 2 games under 500. Reds play one more against the Brewers tomorrow at noon 40. Then they welcome the Diamondbacks in town for 3 games. We can get right this series, can get over 500, but without some real effort and some real direction, I'm not sure where this team goes other than that. We are 4th in National League Central, Kyler, but we will be back next week to talk about your Cincinnati Reds and see if they are willing to make a change. And I hope, Kyler, we hear on the pregame pod or the pregame episode that there was another team meeting in the clubhouse. I hope guys like Will Benson are stepping up.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, fans of the Reds, feel free to let us know in the comments what you think about the Reds right now, what's going wrong. And if you feel a need to have a discussion about Cincinnati Reds, have it right here. That helps us out a ton. Subscribe. Of course, follow along. We do post every week a video at least going over your Cincinnati Reds. And as always, Kyler, of course, we're rounding third and headed for home, I suppose. So, guys, next week we'll hear you out. But as always, go Reds.